On July 7th, 2026, in a World Cup match, Argentina is facing Egypt in the round of 16 two teams with a strong desire to win. Argentina, the current world champion, is the favorite, but is soon surprised by the strength and courage of Egypt, who scored 2 goals. For many, it seemed like it was over right then, since this same result saw the Brazilian team knocked out by the supposedly weak Norwegian team in a match where Brazil was the heavy favorite. The same thing happened with Argentina. They came in as favorites and started the second half losing by 2 goals. Their main star, Lionel Messi, at 39 years old for many people, no longer had the stamina needed to turn this game around. But Argentina showed a fighting spirit not seen in a long time. A fighting spirit, in fact, that could be mistaken for the one our Brazilian team once had in the past, which even gave us the saying that Brazilians never give up. Far from the current team, which always accepts negative results and whose players seem apathetic, as if they don't care about the outcome. Argentina, on the other hand, went on the attack, created plays, kept scoring goals, tied the game, and finally turned it around. It looked beautiful, like a fairy tale. But many who watched the game were on alert, especially when the coach of the Egypt national team made an X gesture indicating racism. And instead of being heard, he received a yellow card. Argentina's beautiful result is starting to be tainted by the headlines being reported all over the world. The main headlines ask, was Egypt's goal against Argentina correctly disallowed? The scorer for Egypt, Tetona. In terms of refereeing, the World Cup is being steered towards Argentina. Webe reacts to Zico's goal against Argentina right after the goal was disallowed. It's obvious that in every game, the loser always complains, but in this match, we have some reasons to understand why they're complaining. The president of FIFA, Gianni Infantino himself, didn't make any effort to hide his support for Argentina. Many people wonder if the fact that this happened could have influenced things in a biased way. What about the game itself? Since Egypt had 2 of their goals disallowed, and if that hadn't happened, Argentina probably wouldn't have been able to win this game so easily. The match would probably have gone into extra time, or even penalties, which could have given Egypt the victory. Thousands of videos were posted showing exactly that, and I want to go over with you one of the main criticisms. Let's take a look.
What happened in this match between Egypt and Argentina went beyond all limits, and the behind-the-scenes footage is frightening. This video that's shocking the world shows the exact reaction of FIFA President Gianni Infantino right after Egypt's second goal. Infantino remains completely still, with a stern look on his face and his hand over his mouth. And what happened on the field is even more outrageous. The coach of Egypt, Rossan Hassan, crossed his arms, making an X sign to denounce the alleged racist insult. Do you know what the referee did? Instead of stopping the game and opening an investigation, he simply gave the coach a yellow card for complaining. To top it all off, the Egyptian player Zico couldn't hold back and dropped a bombshell in FIFA's own official interview. He said it point blank. The victory was ours. The referee wasn't fair, and this championship is totally rigged. He opened the door to the biggest conspiracy theory of this World Cup.
It really is very strange. The president of FIFA, Gianni Infantino, didn't even try to hide his support for Argentina. Many believe that it's already certain that Argentina will win the title. Personally, I don't believe that. But I understand why many people are completely against Argentina and against Brazilians who are cheering for Argentina. These people who have a good memory say that those who cheer for Argentina have forgotten history or don't know it. And why are they saying that? In 1978, Brazil already had 3 titles. They were 3-time world champions. These titles were won by our national team in the years 1958, 62, and 1970. e 1970. They were the favorites to win the 1978 World Cup, but they ended up in 3rd place even though they were undefeated. And what happened back then? To this day, although it has never been proven, several players later in life revealed a fraud scheme created by Argentina itself. In an article, as you can see from Folha de São Paulo itself, we're not making up a conspiracy theory. This is an article, Folha de São Paulo. Quiroga, who played for Peru in the 6-0 loss to Argentina, says he is sure there was bribery. And the one saying this, according to the article from Folha de São Paulo itself, is the former goalkeeper. He admitted to fraud in the 1968 World Cup. Only this result could have taken Brazil out of the final contention. Argentina knew they had no chance of beating Brazil. As I said, he finished in third place undefeated. He was knocked out by that result. This system was different back then. And after years, the former goalkeeper said the following. Ramon Quiroga, who played as goalkeeper for the Peruvian national team in the 1978 World Cup in Argentina, stated that he believes someone made money when his team was defeated 6-0 by the host team. Quiroga, an Argentine who became a naturalized Peruvian, historically became the main accuser regarding the score because of his origin. With the result, Argentina, which needed to beat Peru by 4 goals, advanced to the final and won its first world title by defeating the Netherlands in the final. The result against Peru ended the Brazilian team's chances since Brazil only drew. With 100 goals, Argentina beat Peru 3-0 and went on to play for third place against Italy. In that 6-0 match, we saw strange things, said the goalkeeper in an interview with La Nación newspaper in Peru where he lived. The former goalkeeper said he suspected Manzo Rodolfo, who the following year went to play for Vélez Sarsfield, and that was scandalous. In other words, I believe there is God and that God punishes. I believe that all the Brazilians who won tied 100 goals with those who say they took money. Several died and others died for football. That's what Quiroga said, who also played for Peru in the 1982 World Cup in Spain. At the time of the interview, he was coaching Municipal, a modest Peruvian team. Quiroga, the former goalkeeper from '78, especially accused Roberto Rojas of being bought. In that match, Rojas played a guy who had never played before. He died in an accident. They threw a bomb at me in the stadium and I didn't die. Marcos Calderon, the coach of Peru at the time, died in a plane crash, said Quiroga. The former goalkeeper recalled that Manzo, on Argentina's second goal, was marking Tirantini, crouched down, and left him alone. He was a good player, but we didn't want him. We saw strange things and told Marcos Calderon at halftime to replace him. And it wasn't just me who said it, but also Chupetans, who was the team's defender. That's what former goalkeeper Quiroga said. A strong indication that something was wrong in the match against Argentina was the lineup of players who hadn't been playing on the team. In that match, players who hadn't played in any other game took part. Correte played, and he gifted the 4th or 5th goal. Manzo played, Rojitas played. That's what the former goalkeeper said. Quiroga speculates that the Argentine military might have bribed his teammates. According to the former player, before the match or during halftime, members of the Argentine military junta from the country that was then presided over by General Jorge Videla went to the Peruvian locker room. In recent years, Argentine sports publications have been mentioning strange facts related to that match. Quiroga, however, is the first person involved in the episode to raise suspicions of bribery. Unfortunately, this has never been proven, and I believe it never will be. But hearing this from the player himself who took part in that infamous match, the result is almost impossible, which was achieved to eliminate Brazil, since Argentina needed at least 4 goals for Brazil not to advance. Maybe that's exactly why this goal difference system was removed, since a team could sell out and harm a technically much better team that happened to face them. If this still isn't enough, there's an episode that leaves no room for doubt. There's a confession, and it's already a proven historical fact. Argentina drugged Brazilian players, and it became known as the spiked water case. During the match between Brazil and Argentina in the round of 16 of the 1990 World Cup, the Argentine coaching staff offered a bottle with tranquilizing substances to the Brazilian fullback Branco. On June 24, 1990 in Turin, Italy, Brazil was dominating the game when the Argentine masseur Miguel de Lorenzo, known as Galindez, entered the field to assist an opposing player. During the break, Branco asked for and drank water from one of the bottles offered by the masseur. The Brazilian player soon began to feel groggy and dizzy, which limited his performance. Argentina won the match 1-0 with a goal by Claudio Canigia after a play by Diego Maradona, eliminating Brazil from that World Cup. Years after the tournament, Diego Maradona himself admitted in an interview on Argentine television that the water had been deliberately spiked with a sedative Ronipinol to destabilize the Brazilian players. The Argentine coach at the time, Carlos Bilardo, was identified as the mastermind behind this unfair strategy. This is not a conspiracy theory. It's a fact that has been proven and confessed by those who committed the crime themselves. In fact, that's what causes the most outrage among people who remember this episode, since the Argentine players and many of their experts have never been ashamed of this fact. On the contrary, they laugh about it in casual interviews, thinking what they did was great.
Brazil could have 2 more World Cups if it weren't for Argentina's cheating. What Argentina did to Brazil is just outrageous, man. It's outrageous. The history between Argentina and Brazil is why I say if a Brazilian supports Argentina, you either don't know the history or you're joking. You like the guy who stole from you, who stole 2 World Cups from you. He stole blatantly, off the field, buying off opponents, doping your players. How can you like that? These guys still think it's funny. They don't say what we, Argentina, did was regrettable. No, they laugh about it on TV shows, the former players. They think what they did in the '78 World Cup in Argentina is funny. Argentina made their game. Well, it wasn't the final, it was a round robin. Argentina made their game happen after Brazil's. Brazil was still crossing into the box, tying with Sweden. Zico scores a goal. The referee disallows the goal. After Zico scored, he ends the game. Right after that, Argentina has to win. Brazil plays an amazing first round and is heading to the final. Then Argentina goes to play their game against the Peru national team. What is Argentina thinking about? They're calculating how Brazil did. They say if I beat Peru 6-0, who had a good team and wouldn't normally lose 6-0, if I beat Peru 6-0, I qualify. Mysteriously, the Peruvian players just wandered the field and lost 6-0. Years later, some admitted Argentina had bribed some of them to win 6-0, costing us our World Cup chance. Argentina became champions. That's Argentina's title. In 1990, Brazil and Argentina played in the World Cup in Italy. Argentina wins 1-0 against Brazil, though Brazil plays a much better game. After the game, it was revealed years later that Maradona said they put doping in the water and gave it to the Brazilian players during the breaks. When the ball stopped, they drugged the Brazilian players to win. And the Brazilian press takes their side. They root for those guys, they think it's cool.
If we weren't talking about a team with such an absurd history, maybe Egypt's complaints, especially from their striker Zico and their coach, could be dismissed as excuses from sore losers. Sore losers and things like that. But considering all this history that Argentina itself has, and I haven't even told you the whole story, just the worst facts involving this team, I ask you, are the complaints you're about to hear now from the coach and the player themselves? Zico from Egypt, just excuses from sore losers? Or in fact, is there manipulation involving the big shots of the World Cup itself, who have already chosen their winner? Watch with me and then we'll be right back.
What the coach of Egypt, Rossan Hassan, accused FIFA and Argentina of is simply unbelievable. Right after the 3-2 defeat to Argentina, after a comeback marred by highly questionable plays, the coach of Egypt went straight to the press conference and stated that the match was fixed. He said exactly that after the elimination.
We worked hard and we were the best. We were better than the champion, right? We were better at everything, but the result was there were influences not only external but internal on the field and external before the match, before the game.
And it didn't stop there. Rossan Hassan still fired back. I want to say one more thing. If they want Argentina to win so badly, why do they invite everyone to come and participate? It's all about marketing and money. They want Messi to be world champion, to stay in the competition. In football, a lot of things are decided off the field, depending on vested interests. And that wasn't even the worst part. Near the end of the match, Zico, a player from the Egyptian national team, also lost his patience and had this outburst.
And that's the result. There was no spirit, the referee was not good, he was unfair, and his unfairness was clear and obvious. From the beginning, right from the start of the match, he was after us, he didn't want us to win. It was a match that was already decided. I don't even know what to say.
But now I want to know, in your opinion, is the coach of Egypt right in his accusations, or did he say that just because of the elimination? Comment below.
And is the global elite making fools of us once again? If we take into consideration that the owner himself, Donald Trump, President of the United States, which is hosting this World Cup, and he literally canceled the card that his American team would have received, causing outrage around the world and making many fans of other teams start rooting against the host nation. Is it really impossible to imagine that something shady could happen behind the scenes in a world where those with money and power do whatever they want? Did the FIFA president's own support for the Argentine team influence the cancellation of Egypt's goal? That's for you to decide, my friend. Personally, I like seeing Latin American soccer being labeled by the rotten TV networks as inferior to European soccer. I like seeing our Latin American brothers triumph. But if that's done in a shady way, I'm out. But my role here is to present the facts, not to tell you what you should or shouldn't think. Now you know historical facts, you've heard and seen the evidence, and you can make your own judgment from now on about whether or not you believe in the results that are presented. I believe that if you take into account introspection and the compromise of the pets themselves, it becomes increasingly difficult to believe what TV presents to us. Anyway, that decision is up to each of you. I'll stop here, my brothers. The video ends here. I hope you enjoyed it and above all understood it. If that's the case, share it. Remember that even a simple comment helps boost engagement and makes it possible for this type of video to keep being made on our channel. I thank each one of you and may God bless you and always be with each of you. Hugs, my brothers. We're in this together.